Forget that the Knicks won on opening night. Forget that VJ Edgecombe had one of the great debuts of all time. Forget that the Nets suck. We got ourselves a juicy gambling scandal. How we all doing on this busy Thursday in New York City? It is Roberts and Tiki. A lot to discuss. I never, on my bingo card, after opening night of the NBA season, had me watching a 1-hour FBI investigation and announcement. But there I was. And there's a couple of things off the top of my head as we address this. Number one, we talked about Terry Rozier on January 30th. That's when it came out that Terry Rozier was being investigated by the FBI for potentially being involved in a scandal like this, where there were prop bets and he took himself out of a game and maybe he didn't give max effort. So this is not a shocker because we had heard about it. What's a shocker to me, or maybe it shouldn't be, what I'm trying to wrap my head around, Teak, is how the FBI has enough evidence to arrest him, and I believe them, and yet the NBA cleared him. So Adam Silver, at some point, Mr. Silver, how did you clear Terry Rozier? And that's the first thing that jumped out at me from this was, okay, he's been arrested. The NBA told us 7 months ago, no biggie.
Yeah, he was fine. I think the issue becomes what kind of power does the NBA actually have in investigating things like this? They can't subpoena anybody. They can have a conversation with Terry Rozier or any of the league officials or maybe even his agent, but they can't go find a third party, a contributing third party to this. Because the allegation, if I'm correct, around Terry Rozier is that he told somebody or told people that he was going to exit a game early. And so if you know it's good for you, wink, wink, bet the under on my stats or whatever, whatever they are. And so the NBA can't go find that third party, but the FBI can. And so they can issue subpoenas and get people sworn on the record, which then changes the interpretation of what Terry Rozier did, whether it was legal or not. And apparently it's profound enough to put him in cuffs and take him away.
My understanding, because I was listening to Sam Mitchell, a former NBA head coach, explain this, and I trust him. And I thought Sam did a great job on Sirius NBA Radio going through this. Sam said, the NBA takes this stuff seriously. When they say we're going to investigate this, it's not just, let's watch some videotape. Like, they've got former FBI guys and former police officers and former investigators who they will call up and say, hey, investigate this because we take it seriously. The NBA is in no mood or business to cover up for Terry Rozier. So they, I assume, investigated. And remember, this whole thing started because sports books in multiple states flagged a suspicious bet around Terry Rozier's statistics ahead of a Charlotte Hornets-New Orleans Pelicans game in 2023. There was an incredible amount of bets. There were 30 wagers in 46 minutes from a professional bettor that totaled $13,000. And they were all on the under on points, under on rebounds, under on assists. So the sports books were the ones who said, whoa.
Yeah, this was the March 23rd, 2023 game.
Correct.
Right. And then he played a quarter and took himself out.
Yes. So, look, I don't have any accusations because I don't know. We're all just getting information. What I would ask this commissioner, instead of just saying, all right, we're going to investigate, we're listening to the FBI, we'll see what happens. Can you explain to us, your customers, who you need to keep the trust of, how'd you clear Terry Rozier? That's question number one. Now, if you want to say the FBI is wrong, go say it.
Yeah, well, from the NBA perspective, what did he actually do wrong other than not playing the game? You know, because he himself is not gambling.
Right.
And
that we know of, because he was also, according to the FBI, money was being counted in his hotel or apartment, thousands of dollars. So my assumption from reading that was he was paid handsomely.
Yeah, well, he was paid, but he wasn't gambling. He wasn't gambling on these statistics, these stats, the over or under on his game performance. He himself was not, but people he had told were, and then he was probably getting paid cash to do.
So it's like an indirect. I'm not betting on it, but I'm getting paid.
But I'm getting paid because I gave somebody some information. And so, how do you prove that? It could just be someone's paying you because you sold them I don't know, a old Dodge Charger or
Right.
something. You don't know. And so I guess from the NBA, you can't prove anything because you don't have a subpoena power. You don't have the ability to go investigate or get a warrant from a judge or something like that. Whereas the FBI, they can do all that stuff.
But you know what you can do, Teak? Not clear him. And that doesn't mean you ban him for life.
I agree with it.
Which they
it's
did.
Suspicious enough.
Right.
To say this we have to keep looking at it.
He was on an active roster last night.
Yes.
That's all you need to know. He played basketball last year.
Right.
So I know it's not the same as Jonte Porter, who they banned for life, but the NBA didn't have to clear him. So I'm just telling you, watching that whole investigation, watching Kash Patel and everyone else answer questions, tell us what's on their mind, the number one thing that jumped out at me was, all right, Adam Silver, how'd you clear this guy?
Yeah.
Number two, and this is just reality. Let's have a real conversation here. This is a way of life. There's going to be more of this.
Yeah,
there
of
are
course.
going to be scandals,
It's too
especially
easy.
involving player props.
It's too easy and the money seems free.
Yes. Look, this may not be the best comparison, Teak, so you have every right to slap me across the face. We now live in a world in which there's legal marijuana, right?
Yeah, of course.
You have access to something you didn't have 15 years ago. Are there going to be more things involving that thing that's now legal than 15 years ago? Of course. It's like in the horse and buggy days, there wasn't speeding. You know what I mean?
Right.
Now we have cars.
Right.
There is speeding. So what I'm trying to say, probably in a clunky way, I apologize, is sports betting is now legal, if I'm not mistaken, in 39 of 50 states. The Supreme Court back in 2018 gave it up to the states to say, hey, if you want to legalize this in your state, you're allowed to do it. We in New York have legalized sports betting since 2022. Our friends in New Jersey, yourself, you've had legalized sports betting since 2018. Along with that, unfortunately, is going to come this.
Yeah, of course.
It's natural.
Yeah, because athletes are not immune or not isolated from bad actors in these spaces.
Yeah.
And even if someone feels like they can offer enough money, I'm not saying all, but some athlete will take it.
Yes.
And some athlete will give inside information. Some athlete will do what Terry Rozier did, which is, hey, I'm only going to play a quarter and a half in this game, and then I'm out. So bet the unders. Like it's to Terry Rozier, it seems harmless and it's easy.
It's very easy.
And he's getting free money. Whereas for the gambling community, it's massive. It's enormous, especially if you throw enough bets on it and make enough wagers against it. So the issue is that this is really easy to do.
Absolutely. And I think what we need to do as sports fans or just Americans is probably just accept it. Now, that doesn't mean it's the free reign. It's the wild, wild west. It is on these leagues to police their players strongly and make it very, very clear that if you are caught in any kind of scandal like this, you're done for life. We're going to come down hard on you. But I got news for you. In 2 more years, there's going to be another scandal. In 3 more years, there's going to be another scandal. And this is for all of us as individuals. I can just tell you as me, a human being at 2:10 in the afternoon, am I not going to watch an NBA game tonight because I'm concerned about the up and up? Not really. I'm going to watch it. I'm not concerned about the up and up. I understand that this is going to come along with it.
Yeah.
That with legalized gambling and the access that we now have to it, it is so easy, and that's the key word you said, Teak. It is easy for a basketball player. I don't care if they're making millions of dollars to say, oh, jeez, I can make a quick 10 grand on this.
Yeah, it's cash. When someone's offering you cash, even if you're making $1 million+ it's cash. It's untraceable. It's easy to accomplish. And the question is, what is the NBA going to do about this? Because they've already told players, they've already given you the consequences of gambling or being a part of these things. And so the year or whatever, is it lifetime if they get a ban? Or if it's one? So the lifetime.
Jonte Porter bet on his own game with a similar situation. He's banned for life.
The lifetime ban clearly doesn't stop or influence guys from not doing this.
Okay.
So what do you do? What else can you do?
I want to answer that. I sent Loogie. Loogie, get the Sam Mitchell clip ready. I want you to hear this. Sam Mitchell played in the league, coached in the league, okay? He tells a story earlier today about why he was afraid to gamble, why he was deathly afraid to gamble. I want you to listen to this clip. I want everyone to listen to this clip because this clip will answer what you do about it. Because like everything in life, it comes down to leadership. It is all about leadership. So ladies and gentlemen, courtesy of SiriusXM NBA Radio, former head coach Sam Mitchell.
I was so afraid. I remember one time one of my buddies asked me just a question about who was playing in the game. Is so-and-so going to play? Man, don't ask me that. I thought my phone was bugged. Like, David Stern would come around from team to team, and he would look us in the eye as players and say, look, if I ever suspect you're gambling, not only will you never not play, there's not a corner of this earth you'll play basketball again, but I'll make sure you're going to get a job anywhere that the NBA do business with. Like, he scared the bejesus out of you, right? My wife used to laugh at me because I wouldn't bet on nothing. She was like, what you think, an eye in the sky watching you and recording you? I said, baby, you wasn't in the room when that man came in. The man talking about livelihood, period. Where you can't, you're going to be homeless. And that's how serious it is, because if people don't trust the league, if people think games are being manipulated, dude, that kills your business.
He basically said, David Stern, and I'm not like the biggest fan of David Stern, but I have to acknowledge where he probably did things right.
Yeah.
He scared the bejesus, his words, not mine, out of Sam Mitchell to where he wouldn't want to even give information.
Right. Okay, so what year was that? That was...
Oh, that's got to be the late 80s, early 90s.
So back then, this is why it's different and almost doesn't even matter if Adam Silver did the same thing. In the late 80s, early 90s, they were making good money, but they weren't making generational money. Nowadays, they're making $50, $60 million a year. And so if you have, I don't know, racked up $200 million in your career, do you really care? You're older now. Do you really care? If he bans you and says you can't work in basketball, you're like, all right, I'm fine. I've made enough money. I'm good. My kids, my grandkids don't have to worry. And so as the money's gotten bigger, I think this problem has gotten worse.
Because it's tougher to police. It's tough to intimidate.
Well, it's not tougher to police. I think the policing is the same then or now. I think it's... The
difference is the real legal gambling, though, too.
Yes, but it's the give an F personality of the player. Like, if the player really wanted to gamble in 1980 and you got caught, you're screwed. You're never making another dollar in basketball again. And if you don't have an appreciable skill other than basketball, how the hell are you making a living? You're going to be, as he was saying, homeless. But if you've already made $200 million in 2025 and you're 34 years old and someone offers you, I'll give you $500,000 in cash, just provide us with X, Y, and Z. And then you get caught and they ban you. It's like, all right, whatever. I got my money.
Well, I guess what would scare you is what could happen to Terry Rozier.
Yes.
And we'll get to the Billups stuff because it's completely unrelated, but related in a weird way. You can go to prison. Well, I mean, that would scare you.
Right. Of course it would. But you think, just like with guys who do reckless things, driving fast, speeding, drinking and driving, athletes being reckless, you think you're not going to get caught.
Right.
You think you're invincible. And eventually, this is a good thing in this regard, because you're not invincible, right? You're not immune to the laws of the land.
Well, the good thing may be for any other basketball player, any other athlete, because this is not just an NBA issue. It can happen in any sport.
Right.
It's a reminder that this could ruin your life. I mean, you could get easy money from it, but it could also ruin your life. You could end up in jail. You could end up in prison. Forget about not ever playing the sport ever again. But I remember when we talked about this in January, the reason the NBA is going to be the one that you're most concerned about is that's the easiest to manipulate.
Right.
It is the easiest sport when it comes to prop bets for the individual player to impact.
Yeah.
You can't impact it as much if you're a shortstop in baseball or if you're a wide receiver in the NFL.
Yeah, because you might not get any touches, and that has nothing to do with anything other than the quarterback not liking the route you're running,
right,
or the coverage that's been put over top of you. In baseball, you might just not get a shot at making a play in the field, or if you strike out or whatever, you just strike out. But in basketball, you could actually look like you're trying hard to make shots, and you just intentionally miss.
Right. Or take yourself out of a game early.
Or I got a quad.
Right.
I got a quad. You know, it's hurting me. I'm feeling it right now. Sorry, I'm done. Everything under hits.
What we need to understand in 2025 is what happened this morning is going to happen again. This is now a part of sports in America in 2025.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing, and I know we'll get a lot of calls on this, because there's so many gambling sites associated with all of the sports leagues. The leagues are making tons of money with the gambling partners that they are associated with. But It's not causation. This isn't happening because of the gambling sites associated with all the major professional sports. This is happening because bad actors who are not necessarily associated with any of these sites are trying to manipulate these sites.
But legalized sports gambling is making it more likely for it to happen.
True.
Because more people can make money off of it.
Yeah, but gambling's been happening forever, man.
I agree. And look, I mean, we had a baseball World Series scandal over 100 years ago. Obviously, you're right. But now more people gamble in this country today than they did 10 years ago because of access. Look, I raised my hand. I'm an example of it. I wasn't sitting around going on offshore gambling sports sites. Now, when I sit back and watch a football game tonight, I'll bet on it easily. Or, in my case, emotional insurance.
True, but you don't have access to a player to manipulate it so that you get your bet right.
I don't, but I think that more people now do. And so I do think, where I'll disagree with you, is I think it being
Why
more,
do you think that?
Because more people bet today than they ever did.
Okay, but so why does that make them give more access to the player?
Because if more,
or the coach or whoever is on the inside and can manipulate this?
Because if more people are betting, there are more bad actors who could try to influence. That's what I mean by that.
Yeah, but ultimately that then comes down to the player, the guy on the inside.
I agree. But it's just more likely to happen today than 1985. And here's the other thing. Back in 1985, were there really player props? Like, I don't even know if that existed.
I doubt it.
And that is the easiest thing to manipulate, because that's what we're talking about today.
Right.
This is not, as much as we want to make it about Tim Donaghy or the games aren't real or the reason the Knicks took more free throws is something shady was going on last night. That's not true. At least right now, we have no evidence of that.
Yeah, you can't. This isn't who wins the game. This isn't the money line bet.
No, this is player props. Right. And what I'm saying is, not that it isn't a big deal. Okay, of course it's a big deal. Guys may go to prison.
Right.
But this is going to become commonplace over the next 5 years, 10 years.
It's more manipulatable because of it's the whole Cleveland Guardian thing, right? It was what pitches in-game wagering. First pitch of the game. Yeah. What's it going to be? Ball or strike? Right?
Yes. That was the Emmanuel Clase situation.
Exactly right. That's easy to manipulate.
That is another example of an easy thing to manipulate. And those are the things that we are now getting used to. And I'm telling you, 3 years from now, there'll be another scandal. We are going to gradually become more immune to it. Today, there's going to be a lot of hand-wringing. I know it. Today, there's going to be a lot of, I'm done with sports. There's going to be a lot of, I can't trust sports anymore. And maybe you feel that way. I guess you have every right to. But I'm telling you, this is going to become such a common occurrence. And what it needs to be is policed. It needs to be policed tough by the leagues, policed tough by our law enforcement. It needs to be, and the gambling websites need to be involved, which apparently they were, and at least flagging the Rozier stuff. Because they were the ones who said, hey, there's something unusual going on. And everyone's got to work together to make sure it doesn't happen more than I'm even guessing it's going to happen. Right. But I think this is a part of sports in 2025, and you better get used to it.
Unfortunately, you're right.
We'll get to your calls next, 888-808-1019.